All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 3 of the Glebe Social conversations around The Last Dance. Before we get started, a little introduction to our guest panel tonight. Hello and welcome back. Thank you, Mr. Michael Collins, for that lovely intro. I am your host for our Glebe Social Conversations. My name is Jamie Wong, and over the next hour, we're going to have a chat to some of our favorite Glebe Social community members on episodes 5 and 6. But let's meet the team. Let's start with a special guest from the land of the rising sun, Mr. Andrew Perez.
Hi guys, how are you all doing?
Drew, we're good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm glad to be here. I got the call up. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. How's life in Japan right now with lockdown and everything?
It's relatively normal, to be honest, which might surprise some of you. But I think we're doing okay.
Excellent. I see you've got a nice little bit of facial growth going there.
Yep, I do. This is the stay-at-home bit, and I am representing.
You are representing. Very nice. All right, let's bring on our next speakers. Let's start with Mr. James Juma. Hello, James. Nope, I can't hear the brother. Hang on a second. Oh, there we go. How you doing, James?
I'm doing well, man. How you guys doing?
Yeah, we're good.
Nice. What's up, dude? What's up?
How's working from home situation at the moment?
I cannot complain. I'm still employed, so I will leave it at that. So
all right. Let's bring on our next guest, Mr. Nicky Dajjal. What's up, Nicky?
Sounds working this time.
We for anyone returning, you'll remember that Nicky had some issues with his audio, but it's good to see him working 100% today. All right, Nicky. See you rocking a Bulls jersey there. What are we? Who are we representing?
Probably can't see, but it's by the way. It's Pippin anyway.
It's Pip.
33.
Nice. And thank you, Nicky. Let's bring on Mr. Hans Wong.
Hi guys, how are we going? Hey Drew, how are you?
Good, man.
I think we got some extra guests out the back there. Yeah. Someone's got some visitors really wanting to get on stream. Maybe we should put them on the stream.
Maybe my dogs. You can hear my dogs.
Yeah, someone's.
Is that yours?
Yeah, hungry. all three of them.
You gotta feed them, Nicky.
All right. Last but not least, let's welcome to the stream the couple we call Team Magneto.
What's up, guys?
Hi, guys.
How's it going?
How are we, Juan and Migs? Are we well?
Very good.
Yeah, keeping well.
Yeah. Oh, Migs, I see a lot of growth in your face as well over this little lockdown.
It's only half of it. Had to take the upper half off earlier this week.
Why?
I like it.
The better half chose the half I kept.
Right. All right, guys. Let's go into we've got a number of people tonight, so we're going to do our best to manage this. But I think we'll start with Drew. Drew, you've managed to watch the last two episodes 5 and 6. What are your thoughts so far on, or what were your thoughts on those two episodes?
Well, I guess I have to start off with how episode 5 started off, which was the dedication to Kobe. to say that did get me a little bit emotional just for a little bit. So rest in peace to Kobe. But overall thoughts, they were very interesting episodes. Picking up from where we left off last week. So going into the 92 season as well as, I think, into the 98 All-Star Games. So overall thoughts, it was very, very interesting.
Okay, very cool. And Nicky, since you're repping the jersey tonight, do you remember much about that All-Star game? Like, Kobe MJ. Do you remember anything from it specifically?
Well, I didn't see the game actually like live or anything because this is like back in the 90s. So, but I recall like, you remember NBA.com used to have like the highlights and stuff. So most of it was like the one-on-one battle pretty much between Kobe and Michael. Kobe, 19 years old, coming in the game against MJ, who was like maybe like 35 going into, well, that was his last year anyway. But it was a bit of a one-on-one battle between them two, and both of them put on the show.
I asked some of the guys earlier, and if they don't have to answer this one, obviously, but for those that, I think James wasn't there when we asked this question, maybe yourself, Nicky, but do you remember who won the three-point comp in the 1998 All-Star game? 1998 All-Star game.
No, I don't.
James, want to take a stab?
You guys remember?
No.
He played on the Utah Jazz.
What? Boston or?
Jeff Hornacek won the three-point comp that year.
Right.
And like when I looked up that stat, I was like, I didn't even know that Jeff Hornacek could shoot a three. So that was one of those things. Hans, do you remember the All-Star game at all? Do you remember Kobe MJ? Was there any build up for that? Because I know that Kobe is the MJ for some of you guys on the stream tonight.
I don't actually recall this All-Star game. All I've seen and heard is through other people's retellings on YouTube and all these other documentaries you find online. But otherwise, no, I wouldn't have any other experience for it.
That year, every team wore their own home or away jersey. Miguel, did you like that or did you not like that?
Loved it. Yeah, that was something I was going to mention about. I guess like Hans said, like a retelling of that period of time is kind of like a refresher for myself. It was interesting to see. Just like I honestly don't know how it would work like these days. Like everyone just wears the same jersey, but it's nice to see all the different teams and all the different colors of the jerseys back then. It'd be cool if they brought that back, just for like, even if it's for like retro's sake, I think.
Very cool. Look, let's see. There's some. There's a very interesting question from our friend Casey Avila. Between Kobe and MJ, who would win in a three-point contest? I might throw to Juanita for this one, since she's probably the one that shoots more threes than all of us combined.
This is a tough question for me because I personally didn't grow up watching MJ. From all the clips I would have gone through on YouTube, I would say MJ did more shots driving into the key, doing like cool layups, like in the key shots than three-pointers. Although he could shoot threes, I would say Kobe would win in the three-point contest, just based on what I know from my times.
Okay. James, do you agree? Do you think MJ would have, or Kobe, sorry, would have been better?
Yeah, most likely. I think it was more so the progression of the game at that time. I don't think players were just practicing as much to shoot perimeter like shots. It was more for that mid-range game to the basket. So just in regards to skill set, it just wasn't something that practiced as much. All the three-point shooters were like that was their job. I think
Shout out
Thanks,
to
Case.
for keeping
it real.
Keep it real.
So,
But I wanted to mention something though with the 3 points though as well, because I guess one of the things, I forgot which episode featured it, with the Oh no, it's the end of episode 5, I think, with the Portland playoff with the shrug game with 6 threes and a half. I think
Drexler.
like with the whole thing about Kobe versus MJ with the 3-point comp. I think it's just a sign, like also like different styles of gameplay. Where back then, like the fact that like the greatest player at the time made like 6 threes and a half is like crazy news, and it's something that we kind of talk about now. But like the way the game's progressed, it's like, you know, it's not uncommon for, you know, 5 or 6 of the top players to do that on an average night, potentially. I'm not too sure, but you know, now the record I think is like 13 or 14, I think, in a game, but something like that.
Yeah, I think Clay Thompson, I think, has the record.
Yeah, so it's just crazy. Like, I mean, it'd be interesting to see if it goes back the other way, where there's something. Yeah, I don't know where we go from here in terms of what would be the next unprecedented thing for an NBA player to achieve on an individual basis that like an MJ or a Kobe or a LeBron has achieved so far already.
Yeah, to jump off that shrug comment, I think we all know where MJ got that shrug from now.
Yeah,
that security guy with the Jerry curls.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's featured quite. Yeah, he's featured. That guy with the curls is featured a lot during all those the 90 era Bulls stuff. Like you see him on every video, you see him on every replay. Like when they're running through the tunnel and stuff. Yeah, but it was interesting to see. Like I think we'll talk about the gambling thing a bit later on in this stream. But yeah, it's interesting to see how Jordan got along with gambled potentially or challenged everyone that he was around. So that was pretty cool. Obviously, for some people who didn't realize that, you know, Nike wasn't Jordan's first choice. For me, I guess I've been watching this stuff for a long time, so I knew about that story. Nicky, were you also aware that he wasn't a Nike guy at first, or were you very aware of that?
Because I have a book on Michael Jordan. It's a pretty cool book. I got that at Borders, Macquarie, back in the day. Yeah, like I remember already knowing that he wanted to sign with Adidas originally over Nike, and Converse was like the brand he wore in college, and was also the big brand it was pretty much the official brand of the NBA at the time. Now it's pretty much Nike, so I was pretty aware of it.
Perez, Nikes, you know, are they your go-to shoe, or are you not so much influenced by brand? Like, do you just kind of? I know our friend Case, who's watching this, you know, he's not brand loyal specifically, and in fact, I believe he even hates Nike to some degree. But do you?
Well, traditionally, yes, I have been like an all Nike kind of guy. Growing up with some of you as well would know this. But I'd say
choose one for shoe.
Sorry, I would say now I'm not brand specific. I would just wear whatever I like the look of. So I'm not strictly loyal anymore to Nike, but traditionally I was, and that was thanks to Michael Jordan.
James, are you in a similar camp this day and age, or do you stick with one particular brand or player?
I have shoes that I may not wear, like brands. I won't wear KD, and I won't wear Adidas basketball shoes because they're just not good. Although I do enjoy the brand, like that's one of my favorite brands. But I don't enjoy it. Yeah, I've tried them all. I'm sorry, Miguel. I can't. But I definitely came over to Jordans as basketball shoes because of the Raptors. When I played in those, I was like, oh, these are like amazing. But before that, I played in Converse. Yeah.
You played in Converse?
Yeah, I played in Converse. Yeah. And Reebok, my brother had a whole bunch of the pumps. and like those Shaq Notion things. Like I had hand me downs. I have an older brother, so I had plenty of hand me downs. I didn't stop playing till later. So there was plenty of
Okay.
play. But Adidas, like Lord,
Right. So Luke is asking, 250 grand on a rookie back then is quite convincing. So Migs, I guess, let's say you're a rookie and, you were anti-Nike. Would you have taken the money, or would your ethics and morals say to yourself, stick to the brand that, you actually identify with? Or is the money talk when you're a rookie?
I guess, yeah, it would depend on, I guess, what my priority was. I kind of would have, I guess, if I was thinking like Mark back then and you back to yourself, I suppose, then potentially you may forego the money and go with the brand that you're most aligned with, knowing that at some point the money's going to come, you're going to make a name for yourself, and you're gonna, as you grow, the brand will like grow as well, I suppose. But interestingly, to go with an upstart brand like Nike, I think kind of spoke more. It was actually aligned with where he saw himself going as well. They had, a big hill up against Puma and Adidas to get to their level at the time. But but the thing I found interesting though was, or like the thought I had was, with Nike kind of owning the basketball market, I guess, for shoes, do you think like a lot of it was due to the come up of Mike, or was it the other way around? Like, that basketball maybe it wasn't what it is today, and like the brand just benefited from the brand growing, or was it purely for Mike?
Yeah. So I was thinking about this, and I'll get James to unmute in a second, because I think this is an interesting one for those watching, is for you guys. What was your first pair of J's? So, Andrew, do you remember your first pair of Jordans?
13.
The Jordan 13?
Yeah, this was back in primary school, and I wore these everywhere I went. I treated them incredibly badly. Pretty much like how any kid would have treated some shoes back then. They didn't know the true value of.
James, what were your first pair of Jordans?
I think there were 7, roughly. I think there were 8. Yeah.
You say 7s?
Yeah.
So the Olympic ones?
No, the Nike one.
The black suede, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They weren't black and suede when I got them. Black and crack. So, I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's what my mom gave me.
Nicky, what were your first pair of Jordans?
11 Concords. Thanks to a cousin, Casey, hooked us up, so I didn't have to line up at midnight for them. I fed him at 7.
Hans, what are your first pair of Jordans?
I've got them right here, actually. Where are they?
Oh, nice.
The
The 3s.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Are they Laney's or?
No, I've played in them. So the men's 9.5s, I think.
Hold on, but when did you get them? Did you get them like in the 80s?
Oh, geez. No, we've been not in the 80s. Back in uni, we've been in uni.
Okay, so they were retro. They weren't the OG release.
No.
But they were your first pair of Jordans. Okay.
First pair of Jordans.
Oh yeah, all right. Juanita, what about you? Where was your first pair of Jordans?
So I only just got my first pair of Jordans last year as a wedding gift from this guy. And they were the Jordan 3 Black Cements, which is one of my favorites.
Is that the one that Case did the drawing for you?
Yes, it is. Sure is.
Very nice. What about you, Migs? What was your first pair of Jordans?
Yeah, it was also fairly recently, maybe, I don't know, 4 years ago. It's not an OG color though, but I got a pair of 11s, the black Gammas. It was a birthday gift from Winita.
Yeah.
And oh, hold on, what's this one? Ali, do you guys actually play in Jordans? Anyone playing them?
Not anymore.
No more.
Sometimes.
I always found Jordans to be like, at least from, let's call it 18 and down, they were a little heavy. They were like compared to some of the newer tech, you know, the Hyper Dunks or the Hirachis or all those series. They always feel a little bit heavier. And but obviously, you know, you put on a pair and you feel like Mike. So I guess that was the point of it. My first pair of Jordans was actually the Jordan 8s during the 92-93 season. So that's how I remember. That's when I kind of first started paying attention to MJ and stuff. Bill Wood, Steve Carfino, Saturday Basketball on Channel 10. You know, again, showing my age. Yeah. But like I think it was midday on a Saturday. I got back from tennis, put on the TV, and then they had like NBA. They had a highlight show, and then they played a game. That was Jordan 8s with the furry tongue. That was my year. All right, thank you there. Let's go to the next one. They showed a few things around, like, you know, his ads and stuff, but I guess I was curious about, you know, memorable Jordan ads. Like, Andrew, do you have an ad that, you know, stuck with you?
I do. I've actually forgotten what they were actually advertising, but it was Jordan and Larry Bird, and they were trying to say like off the backboard, off the window, off that car, and they were just trying to one up each other the whole time. It's a good question. I'd actually like to hop on YouTube later and search for this, but I just remember it was Jordan and Larry Bird.
That's where they out-horse each other, right?
Yeah.
For the McDonald's, I think. Right?
Was it McDonald's? It could have been.
It was Macca's ad.
Yeah. Okay. James, you got a favorite TV ad that MJ had?
Definitely like the Gatorade ad, the Be Like Mike ad, like any. I'd probably say those two. Yeah, actually the Gatorade ad. Because Gatorade was like a thing, you know. You just think, the mental aspect being a kid, just drinking Gatorade, so I'm gonna, win a beast mode. Especially, although you're playing basketball and playing other sports, I just psychologically it works on a young man. So,
what was your favorite Gatorade flavor, James?
I don't even know. What was green? Like, it was kind of green. I don't even know. I wasn't that.
Do you guys remember when Gatorade launched in Australia that came in glass bottles?
No.
Yeah.
Showing your age again, probably, John.
I'm showing my age, but I'll tell you, so basically Gatorade came out, they ran the MJ ads and everyone wanted to buy Gatorade. They came in glass bottles, and I remember my favorite flavor was citrus. That was the flavor that MJ drank, supposedly. And I bought like 6 bottles of it because I had a game on, threw my bag down onto the ground, went for a drink, and they'd all smashed, of course. So that's why I'm glad they switched to plastic.
But you don't have those like cool, quicker caps anymore, then.
Actually, funny enough, Cisco. Anyone else smash a glass Gatorade bottle in your school bag?
Check out the hair.
Actually, you like so like mushrooms.
Bell's actually a sidetrack here. Belle is saying how good was the soundtrack on episodes 4 and 5 and 6. I assume she's talking about.
Yeah,
It's really good.
The intro was Nas, like world, like I was like, yo, that was amazing. And then the game down in Atlanta, when they timed in with Rosa Parks, Outcast. So like, I was like high-fiving myself watching that shit. I was just like, yo, whoever chose the track, you're on point. And
the playlist is on Spotify now as well. It's pretty good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I have to check that out.
Makes you want to makes you want to play ball.
For sure.
Thank you, Case. Right. Next question. Yeah, let's try this one. So, is Jordan addicted to gambling? Is he like, in your opinion, from what you've seen and what you've heard over the years, is he a gambling addict or is he a competition addict as he likes to make excuses for himself? Drew, what do you think?
Well, just like he said in the documentary, I really do think he has an addiction to competition. Those stories are well documented. As for actually being addicted to gambling, I would say so. Yeah. Yes. 100% yes.
Gamble and everything.
Yeah, he's always trying to take people's money. There was that story of the guys playing cards and himself, Pippin and Ron Harper were playing like for thousands at the back, and you've got the other guys on smaller contracts playing for like $1, playing in $1 card games, and he wanted to try and take their money too. So I think he's got some sort of addiction there. Yes.
I genuinely think it's personality. Like his position allows him to keep his risk because it isn't really like the money that he's playing with and whatnot wasn't changing his life as he was moving. So I think he's competitive and he funneled it into like that aspect of gambling. But he also, like golf becoming that competitive stage where he moved it and brought that gambling aspect into it. He also had to, he got a new arena for him in golf. He's not like amazingly great at it, but he's willing to gamble on it. It's a skill thing. But okay, I'll improve, I'll get better as well. But I'm more interested to see how far it would go down if it, he didn't have the fun. If he didn't have the fun and it, I think if it affected and clouded his judgment, then I'd say he was addicted to it. But I don't know how much, what kind of bet could he make that would really affect him? More than I'll put my house on something. That would be him gambling, in my opinion, because that's something you could potentially lose that really could affect your life and was out of control. But money team is just I'm good. I'm just doing it because I want to see how far I can push the other person. And I see that more as competitiveness more than an adverse attraction to having an addiction to gambling. So I get it. I understand it, but I don't see it.
Migs, have you ever bet a person over a game of basketball of any sort?
Sorry, what was that?
Have you ever bet on something on a basketball game with anyone, like maybe a game of horse or lunch or I don't know anything? Have you ever gambled for basketball?
Probably, but nothing within recent memory, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it cash money or was it you're getting lunch or
like a meal or I'd do something or even just something small like that, but no major money was thrown down.
Yeah, not to that extent.
Not to that extent. But yeah.
Case thinks that Jordan's dad was addicted to gambling.
Maybe.
Interesting. All right. Let us go to the next thing. What do we got here? Okay, so there was an audience question as well, but we'll start here. We'll go with, was the 92 Barcelona team the best dream team that has been assembled? Obviously, I was around. I watched that one a lot when I was growing up, but you guys watched probably Dream Team 3 and some of the ones that lost. But has there been a better group of professional athletes put together for a basketball game? Andrew?
The original Dream Team was the best Dream Team for me. I found them to be the most complete team. They didn't have many or if any deficiencies at all. And basically, they also had Michael Jordan, so that kind of negates anything.
Juanita, do you have a preference for your favorite dream team you've seen?
Definitely don't. I wouldn't be able to come up with the perfect dream team off the top of my head, not from my memory.
Okay. So Enzo here goes, if you had the choice, would you have Isaiah on your dream team? So if you remember, so the point guards for Dream Team 1 was Magic, John Stockton, and potentially Pippen could have played like a point forward, like he normally does. Who would you have swapped out? Would you have swapped any of those guys out for Isaiah, Nicky?
Awesome. God damn. Yeah.
It's tough.
Christian Laettner.
It's like MJ said, like, you know, he hated Isaiah, but, you know, he had his respect. He was the second best point guard after Magic. So possibly, I don't know, I'd swap maybe Christian Laettner for him. Like, Laettner didn't really have to be on that team. But if the team was fine as it is, I guess.
Hans, how do you feel about that? Do you think Isaiah deserved the spot?
I mean, for me, if I was to build the team, I wouldn't have picked Isaiah Thomas over Stockton because I prefer how Stockton plays. He's like more of a pass-first point guard, which is what, you know, I try to construct my game around. And, you know, you've got a team of people that need to be fed. They all want the ball, and if Isaiah's there, Thomas is there in as well. I mean, is everyone going to get their share of minutes, points, whatever?
Yeah. I guess, yeah, I look at it that way as well. And I think you had so many offensive weapons on that team. You know, and I'm sure that some kind of personalities got in the way at some point. But yeah, I would probably say to myself, Stockton over Isaiah myself. I'd rather have the guy that has the most assists, most steals, you know, on that team, I guess. And I feel like he deserves that one. But our friend here feels like we're disrespecting the great Christian Laettner.
From Duke as well, right?
He was. All right. After I wrote these questions down while I was watching it, but then I realized that you guys are probably all too young. But I want to know, instead of in the 90s, let's say, who is like the best international NBA player that has come onto the scene over the years? Migs, got a favorite international player?
Oh, man. I mean, George Murasan. I'm trying to think of eras now, but in the 90s, I mean, what's that? Early Tim Duncan. Does Virgin Islands still count?
Yeah, Steve Nash.
Yeah, Steve Nash. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anyone that really stood out to me.
R.I.P. Drazen.
Andrew Gaze. Yeah, I think the most successful, I suppose, just because of like the prolificness of their winning. Yeah, Tony Kukoc has to be up there. I don't know when was Dirk? When did Dirk come on the scene? It was
98.
98.
Yeah, it would have come. Yeah, late 90s. But I guess what about
when they peaked? I suppose like Dirk and Duncan really were in the 2000s. So. Yeah, I find it kind of hard. Yeah, maybe Manu. Yeah, Manu's a good one.
Shane Hill.
I would say
Sabonis
plays for the Nets. Petrovic was really underrated.
Drazen? Yeah.
Petrovic.
Casey says, if Kukoc swapped with Nowitzki in terms of the timing and era, would he be the greatest European basketball player ever? I think Nowitzki's probably a more dominant and stronger player than Kukoc was. Like, yeah, I just think Nowitzki is, he was hard, man. Like he was 7-1. he hit the three, and yeah, it's interesting. But Kukoc would definitely be a distributor more than a shooter.
Yeah.
Luke here says obviously Doncic.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Oh,
Nice.
No, for
Oh,
the
90s though.
Yeah.
Oh,
true. What about deadlift strength?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wasn't he like German?
Yeah.
I remember.
I was
Good.
thinking of Dikembe Mutombo.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's a good one.
good one.
What did he average during his career, you think?
Probably more rebounds than points, right?
Mm.
Low
Yeah,
blocks.
more rebounds, more blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he had a few defensive player of the years. So say, yeah, Mutombo.
I don't know how this question's going to go, but we're going to give it a shot. Do athletes influence your political views? So I know James is quite not outspoken, but I'm sure he's got an opinion on some of this. So James, I'm curious, like, do athletes influence you from a political point of view, or would you prefer them to maybe stay in their corner, play on the court, and leave that stuff to the side? Or are you like, nah, go for it. Tell me what you think.
I don't think they personally determine or influence my political views. I think it's more so just maybe if you have a platform, it's up to you if you want to go ahead and if you personally have an opinion on that and you're asked about it to voice it. But if people are looking to athletes to give them validation for their ideas behind stuff, it's like, you're looking at the wrong aspect of it. Like, you need to get someone with a reputable background to it or something like that. But I just feel like, but if they can lend weight to something that needs attention given to it, I think sometimes it's helpful if they if you feel some type of way about it, to actually mention it. But the idea of being asked a question and just keeping quiet for the sake of keeping quiet, I found it you're trying to pitch them out. Because I'm sure when it's a relevant kind of conversation that's going around in the wider community and you're asked about it and you're just like, I have no opinion about it, it's just frustrating. But also on the other hand, I get it because people are hanging on your every word, waiting for you to validate something or to do things. It's not your responsibility, but sometimes you just really take it on. Like, in my opinion, whatever your opinion is, just say that based on this and that, in my opinion. But they don't have to.
We need a Mike 3 Collins says, shut up and dribble. Would you be in that camp, or would you? Are you curious about their political point of view?
Personally, I don't really like to talk politics, so athletes have never really influenced my political views. And I think for athletes, you're doing your own craft. That's your thing. If you're a politician, you talk about politics. But as an athlete, you should be in control of what you want to display on your main page. So I think for Jordan to be so strong-minded about what he had to defend himself when the media was kind of talking about that, I think he had every right to do so. I don't think people should, even the media should be pulling at him to ask for his opinions on certain things if he's not ready to talk about it or if he's not interested in it. I think personally that's for me. I don't think it does influence my views at all, and I don't think people should make athletes talk about them as well.
Hans, you have similar feelings on this one?
Just piggybacking off Juanita's comments regarding athletes, they do have a platform, a very influential platform, which can affect the masses' thoughts and feelings. Look at more recent events, especially with LeBron and Daryl Morey. That's didn't go down too well, right? I think it's also part of media trying to create headlines as well, trying to pin something on these athletes.
Would you think differently if Ben Simmons supported One Nation, Migs?
I'd be disappointed, given that he's also a mixed kid, But I think I think when it comes down to it, I think it really is up to the individual athlete to decide whether or not they want to use their platform to express themselves beyond the game, and it shouldn't really be up to someone else to put that on them to, like Ali had mentioned, to be a role model when maybe perhaps they were just about the competition, about being the best player they can be. And if people end up being influenced by them, it shouldn't be their responsibility. I don't feel it should be their responsibility to be a proactive, be so proactive in their views if they don't feel like they should be, which I feel like was Jordan's argument, was that he was trying to focus on the craft. He ended up being the best player and I guess most influential, but it wasn't his energy to be politicized, I suppose.
But
Yeah,
remember,
sure.
You got flamed for saying Republicans, wear sneakers too. I think that's when it was set off. It wasn't that even that you're holding his tongue. It was more so that's when people made that link of, I don't want to keep trying not to step on any toes. I think that's you can be quiet. You can, you don't have to. But if you want to say something, I think on the other hand, they shouldn't get blamed for it. Obviously, someone like an athlete like LeBron has openly been that dude. I'm going to champion this. I believe in this. I experienced this, so I'm going to lend my voice to it. But yeah, whether or not, I think also us as society looking to them or hanging on their every word. LeBron's not a fucking political genius. I don't care what he's got to say about that. I'm not going to look to him for it. Nor am I going to look to any kind of athlete because that's not their role. But if they want to speak about it, I think it's more so our reaction in regards to if they can speak about it. But if not, they can just, you should be able to go past or whatnot, But I was just saying, in my opinion, if you ask the question and you have a view on it, to genuinely hold it back and just not speak on it, it's kind of disappointing. But you have no real view and you say, I don't really, I don't feel no type of way about it, then it should be totally okay to pass. But us as a community, I think we're obviously general as a country for something, but we're the ones that exacerbated to something, hang on their every word or whatnot.
Yeah, I want to circle back to the previous question about international for a second because there's a player's name that we didn't talk about just quickly, and I just saw it in the thread here. What about this guy?
Ooh.
Good one.
Yeah,
Good choice.
I think that's a good one.
That's the winner.
That's the winner.
He ended up,
sorry,
I think
Nicky?
he definitely set the precedent for a lot of players, finesse players, bigs in this day of this era. I think have benefited from seeing players like Hakeem do it, because it used to be really 90s, banging down low, hand checking, take all the point guards and kind of drive into the key down. But to see someone kind of basically manhandle Shaq using finesse, down low with the dream shake and everything like that. That was crazy to me. So good combo.
Funny story was with Hakeem. Apparently, he was training or trying to coach Kwame Brown, but he had to walk away from that as well.
Sorry, just having a chuckle.
I wonder what her favorite games are.
I think we were talking about the politics and stuff, but Ali's got the quote of I'm not a role model, right? I don't know, are athletes and sports or personalities, are they role models? Is that come with the territory? You think, Juanita? When you out there in the public eye, does it just come with the territory, or do you think no, these people should be allowed to just do their thing without being, looked up to as a role model?
100%. I think when you're at that kind of level, you know that you are a role model for everyone, and like I don't think it's an excuse to use that card. Like I'm not a role model because you're already at that stage. There's no way you can really hide from it. Like, yeah, I think there's certain instances where the media should like stay away from. Like, there's a lot of things you shouldn't pick into, like dive into their personal details. But at the same time, when you come out, when you're in the spotlight, anything you say, anything you do, it's going to be out there. So definitely.
Andrew, do you feel the same way? Do you think they are role models?
Yeah, I do. I actually agree with everything Juanita just said. It definitely does come with the territory, so there is a certain expectation with how they need to portray themselves. As for their actual beliefs or certain positions on things, if they feel like they want to express those kinds of things, then they just need to know that they are in the spotlight.
So, Nicky, do you think Nick Kyrgios should embrace his responsibilities as a role model then? Or should he just be out there playing tennis?
I feel like whether he likes it or not, he's supposed to be a role model for some of these kids because like he has a major brand like Nike backing him up, or Tennis Australia, whatnot. Like he's in the public eye constantly, so like whatever he does or whatever he says, it's gonna probably end up all out there. So he probably should watch what he does in public or watch what he says.
I mean, this prime example is Kaepernick. What he stood up and what's the rest is history.
Who was that? Sorry, Hans?
Kaepernick, Colin Kaepernick.
Oh yeah. So do you think, okay, so on this train of thought, we're not talking about political, sorry, wrong banner. Let me get rid of that. So do you think that's why people like Jordan, Federer, those type of guys who have this kind of role model-esque kind of personality out there, they're usually clean cut, they're not out, with different women every night, they're pretty out of the spotlight. I don't know. Do you think that has some influence to your legacy, James?
Yeah, I mean, it's just an easier image to market. A big brand like Nike pushing you out there. It's very easy to put you out there on all these different platforms when it comes to fundraising, anything that's socially correct to project your name and image alongside. It's so much easier to have a clean image. Look what happens to Tiger Woods. He's cheating on his partner. No, not something like with a lot of different women. It's terrible, but not something that hasn't happened a million times in society, a million times over. Not great, but it's also a personal thing that he's going through. But he was getting dragged through the media, and he was lost his endorsement and massive fall from grace, and shunned a whole bunch of things. But really, at the same time, as long as you're, you're playing well, I believe in the eyes of a lot of brands, they'll also still stand by you and support you. If you keep performing, I think that's a big part of it. Because the same thing happened to Kobe, accused of raping, someone and whatnot, and he kept them playing through it, and it went through the court, and all the brands kind of, had their hands behind their back, and they waited, and he was acquitted of that, and it wasn't a thing. But brands, he didn't lose any endorsement, I don't think, nothing major that comes to mind and whatnot. And he wasn't found guilty of it, but he still did cheat on his partner, and so I just think it depends on how you like. It's just easier if you're a clean athlete. Like you couldn't do the same with Rodman. It's very Rodman is a very different kind of.
When you were when you first started playing sport, James, and I'm going to ask this of everyone, what was the first sport you played that you remember as a kid?
Like soccer.
Okay, and why was that? Is it just because did you look up to a player? Like, was there a player that you emulated, or did you play it because I don't know, the ball was there?
My brother played it. I just did what my brother did. He was 4 years older than me. He said, "Play this." I'm playing it. He said, "Jump." I'm jumping. Like that's it. And
Okay.
then I did. Yeah.
Andrew, did you? What was your first sport that you played?
It was basketball, and my first exposure was like Michael Jordan. And as a kid, I had no idea. I was totally oblivious to the whole gambling addiction, those kinds of issues. This was around that time, actually, around the '93 finals. So I didn't know. I just watched him, and I was just enamored by the athleticism. Yeah.
Nicky, did you start with basketball, or was there another sport that you looked up to?
Well, my dad tried to get me into tennis, but that didn't really work out. But yeah, it would have to be basketball, just playing down at the park. Yeah, shooting around. It's a sport that you can play by yourself.
And was there someone that you looked up to?
It'd probably have to be MJ because you saw him in like Space Jam and like Channel 10 back in then. You used to have ads for like Gatorade, Nike. Like he was like all over it. So
okay.
Yeah.
Hans, what about you? Basketball?
Swimming, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of
and
laps.
How did that come about? Like, did you just enjoy it, or was it an athlete that you?
I hated swimming from day dot. Parents threw me into the pool because I had asthma, and he's pretty good at it, so keep him going all the way up to probably high school.
Okay. Miguel, what about you? Did you grow up with a different sport that you loved, and did you join it just because of someone else?
Yeah, like the first sport I really kind of put time and energy into, but way when I was super young, was actually tennis. And back then I was following who was it? Like Michael Stick and Andre Agassi, Pat Rafter days. Pete Sampras. Sorry, not even Pat Rafter. What am I talking about? Pete Sampras. The whole rivalry between Agassi and Sampras was amazing. But then, basketball came a little bit later, like when I was in year 4 or something, and it was just because being a Filipino in the Philippines, I had to either box, bowl, play billiards, or basketball. So I picked basketball.
Okay. And what about you, Anita?
Believe it or not, I actually was a huge soccer player. Like, I would boys in recess. I have no idea how I picked it up. I think I was just always into sports and running around. Like the girls would be on one side, sitting down, hanging out, but I would be with the boys running around. And I guess all the guys were into soccer at that time, so I just kind of joined along.
Okay, very cool. My first sport, I think, was like some of you guys, which was tennis, but it was Michael Chang. Seeing another Asian on a professional level, it honestly makes you think that, I could be that guy. Like, you're seeing someone that that looks like you, and yeah, I just remember that. And I think we talked about breaking tennis rackets the last episode, and I was saying to Enzo, I think I broke about 30 in my tennis career, so at least I can't break a basketball that easily anymore. Let's move on. We're almost there, guys. We're almost at the 1 hour mark. It's flown by very, very quickly. I might try this one with you guys. You know, I think we've been talking about controversy and we talk about, you know, role models and political views, but, you know, athletes that have been hit with controversy, does it take away their shine for you? And I might even substitute that from more than just athletes, but like musicians or people in the spotlight, you know, people that you used to admire. I guess, Andrew, like I'll use the easiest one off the top of my head, which is Michael Jackson, right? There's all this controversy around him. But you know, does that take away from his music or the shine for you?
No, it doesn't. I like MJ for his music, for his entertainment, but I wouldn't let any of my kids in a bed with him. I think so. Yeah, it does take a little bit of the shine away, but that's not why I'm a fan in the first place. I mean, I'm a fan because of his entertainment value. It does take a little bit of the shine away, but at the end of the day, I'm still a fan. I guess it also depends, like what they actually did.
Like athletes are drug cheats.
Yeah, true.
Oh yeah, if they're a drug cheat, then yeah, that does tarnish.
Yeah, I mean, look at what's his name, Lance Armstrong.
So, do you think that that's an interesting one? So, Hans, let's say, I don't know, let's say in 10 years' time it comes out that Jordan was, I don't know, whatever, cheating somehow. Does that definitely take away the shine for you on an athlete like MJ?
I think, you know, most people on the surface would probably not express it, but deep down they probably would have, you know, harbor some, not so much resentment, but, you know, more negativity towards his achievements.
Yeah, I think if Mike came out like with his whole legacy, if it came out that they found out that he was, you know, paying off refs or that he was using performance enhancing drugs, then that would obviously, I feel, would take away from the shine and his legacy. But say like to the Michael Jackson thing, it didn't take away. If it's something that doesn't take away from their art, I suppose, then it's easier for people to be okay with it.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? Like, because, you know, I think we're living in a time of extreme political correctness to some respects. You know, yeah, it's an interesting one. Like, you know, as you guys know, I manage, you know, some social media stuff for another company. And, you know, we have to be very careful on what to say or when to say it. Like, you know, even things like Australia Day or Anzac Day, if I go and do something around that and just to, you know, acknowledge the date, you get people that are easily offended. Now, whether or not that was different back then. Like, you know, obviously the 90s, we didn't have social media. You know, you didn't follow someone's Twitter account. So you could have a level of anonymity, perhaps, I guess, you know, like Rodman going to Vegas, like we only know about it now. But, you know, if it was Rodman in 2020, yeah, it'd be all over it. There'd be photos on someone's smartphone, you know, and I think, I don't know. Hans, do you think there's any way that, do you think athletes from that era would enjoy or not enjoy living in this era with such scrutiny, I guess, and in particular Michael Jordan?
I think it's a bit hard to, you know, cut and paste from era to era, but you know, I don't know. I mean, if you take LeBron and, you know, how much of a social platform he has, if he, you know, achieved what he achieved back in the 90s, you know, it's got me stumped. Get some food for thought.
Okay.
Wait, if it came out with LeBron and they're saying he was, you know, he's using human growth hormones or some type of, you know, how would you feel about him? How would that change your opinion of him? In any way?
For me, okay, I'll answer that one. Like, I reckon if it came out that LeBron was using some type of performance-enhancing drug or something that gave him a physical advantage over, cut players now. I think you should almost remove the records from the record book is how I feel to some respects. Now, this is not prepared, obviously. I'm just thinking off the fly. But if, like he's played, 19 seasons or something? Would his body have been able to survive or, keep up and perform? Like, seriously, he's still a freak athlete. Like, he's performing just as well now in his 19th season as he did in his 10th season. Whereas in the 90s, we saw players peak, right? Jordan played 13 seasons, if that, if we count the Wizards years, I guess. But yeah, I think that if you're caught, and I think Ali said it in his one, if it's cheat related, it loses its luster. But I also think you need to strike it from the record book to some degree.
But what if athletes that do come back and try to make a comeback, like say Justin Gatlin, he was caught out. He's come back in and tried to compete in the 100. And more recently, that the Chinese swimmer, what's his name, Sun Yang. Yeah. I mean, if these guys have been caught out, and if they're apologetic, do you give them a second chance?
Yeah. I mean, Sharapova is a prime example. She pretty much played her whole career taking this supplement or whatnot, and then in the season of 2016, 17, whatnot, it was selected as a banned substance, and she wasn't informed of it, or her camp wasn't informed, and she played one game, which was the Australian Open, one tournament with it, and then they banned her. Like, it was kind of sad, because something they had openly known that she's been taking her whole career, and then it switched over and she wasn't across to be banned, and she tried to come back and wasn't able to. She really, they really did their best to really strike her from the book and make the return to top flight tennis extremely hard for her. She recently retired and just didn't go out with that fanfare. As much as a lot of aspects of the game I hated, the screaming, the yelling and whatnot, but the fight in her as an athlete, I definitely recognize that about her, and I give her mad props, because it doesn't matter how talented you are. Sometimes if you don't have that fight, that fire to keep going, you can't harness your potential type of thing. So I feel, I thought about it when I heard that she retired. I was like, man, damn, to go out like that, I actually felt sorry for her, because, I think her whole career, she did get a lot of, she got kind of shat on for the whole shouting thing. She was always seen as kind of a little bit stoic, or really stern and whatnot. But at the end of the day, she was a fucking fierce tennis player. She was amazing. I didn't enjoy watching her, but I appreciated it at the end of it. Man, when she won, she deserved to win. She was playing amazingly. And to go out like that, it was kind of disappointing. To be out of the game to serve the ban and then come back and try to salvage something, it was kind of sad to watch her play. I watched her play a few tournaments and whatnot, and I felt for her. Her whole legacy was kind of done from there. But I mean, that's a very specific situation. So all I'm trying to say is, I feel like in a lot of different, if you're openly, consciously taking substances that are banned to improve your performance, yeah, it's a wrap, you're out of here. But in her situation, that's an example of, it's a little bit different. And a lot of basketball players as well are taking substances to enhance their performance. They're taking substances, a lot would be, they say a good 67% of the league, they all smoke weed. So it's just something they do. And some people may say that enhances, some people may say that hinders. Do we really frown on that? You don't see it as a performance enhancing substance, it's a banned substance. So I think that's also part of the conversation. Because some people just, recreational bits and pieces. Yeah. And in that case, I'd turn a blind eye to that. That's your decision. It's more so the franchises, it's in their hands if they want to deal with you, because it lowers your performance, and then it also lowers your chances of being the best player you can be.
We're just past the hour, guys. I've got 2 lines of questions, but I'm going to throw to a quick one from one of the guys, which is, our friend Case, Barkley also deserves a ring. Who's the greatest NBA player not to win a ring? Let's do this one quickly. Andrew, who's the greatest NBA player not to win a ring?
The first name that comes to mind is actually Karl Malone. Yeah, Karl Malone. I'll go with Karl Malone.
Yeah.
Okay, James, greatest player not to win a ring.
AI.
AI.
Good one.
What do you say?
AI.
Nicky.
Ooh.
It's tough. So many people deserve rings, but Jordan sort of like denied them.
1/3 of
yeah,
that. Oh,
Yeah, the whole 90s. For me, it's Reggie Miller.
Reggie. Oh yeah. Hans, who deserves a ring? Who never got it?
I want a Nash. Steve Nash.
Nash.
Oh, Patrick. The Knicks. Yeah. Oh,
Patrick
yeah.
Ewing, yeah.
Yeah.
Juanita, who deserves a ring that never got it?
I wouldn't say he's the greatest, but just for me personally, I'm gonna say Vince Carter.
Ooh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Migs?
T-Mac.
T-Mac, yeah, okay.
Also because I just think he got injured and we just didn't get to see the best of him as well, I think. So
Yeah, that's true. Did D-Rose? No, D-Rose never won, did he? Poor guy. Lucas says, any New York Knicks player after 73. All right.
It's been that long.
50 years almost. Jeez.
damn.
There was one other bit of news that came out through the week, which was interesting for me, and I'm just going to ask Drew, since he's our special guest all the way from Tokyo. The thing that came out was Jordan was offered 150 mil to show up for 2 hours to an endorsement thing. How long would you think about it before saying yes or no, Drew?
I'm already there.
So regardless of the product, for 150 mil, you're there?
All right. In all seriousness,
What's the line?
my first question is what am I showing up for? Depending on what that is for, then that would probably determine the answer to my question, which is most likely yes anyway.
That's good for me. All right, that's it. That is the end of our episode. We are obviously looking forward to episodes 7 and 8. James was kind enough to share some links last week with me, but I've been strong and I've not looked at those links. So a quick one around the table. What do we think's happening? And obviously we finished episode 6 with a lead up saying that we're about to play the Bulls are about to play the Nets. What are you hoping to see from episode 7, Drew?
Episode 7. Where are we? Oh, I would actually like to see. I think we're in terms of the early 90s. We're up to after the finals, right? So I want to see more of how that summer unfolded. Actually,
after 93.
Yeah. So the time he actually retired and the whole thing with his father. So I want to see some of the insights into that era.
Yeah.
I would actually like to see more on-court kind of stuff that I haven't seen yet. Like the behind the scenes stuff, the stories and stuff is interesting, but I'd actually like to see more on court, like different angles or the on court microphones and hearing how intense those, that last battle was, I guess. Nicky, what about you? What do you hope to see in the next episode?
So it'll probably be taking off right around when after the 93 championship. So I kind of want to see how the Bulls, how they played that season without him. It was sort of like Pippen's team that year. And then, a bit more of the 98 playoff season, first round. See all the behind the scenes stuff. Cool.
All right, guys, we are out of time. Let us sign off. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us. It's really nice to see your face and hear your voice.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You, Drew.
Bye, Drew.
See you, Drew.
We'll bump Drew off by Drew. James, thank you very much. Good to see you.
See you guys.
I just bumped him off. Nicky, good to see you as well.
Peace out, guys.
We'll see you soon. Goodbye. Hans, thank you again. We appreciate your insight. And those Jordan 5s were, they were Jordan 5s, right? Three. I thought they were 5s because Ali Miranda once said he was going to get married in Jordan 5s. Note to everyone. See you next time, Hans. Goodbye.
See you guys. Be good.
And last but not least, goodbye, Mignita. I hope you have a good week.
Likewise.
Thanks,
see you,
see
Jay.
ya.
See you guys.
See ya.
That's it, homies. We are out. Till next week. Have a good week. See ya. Bye.